In a political atmosphere increasingly defined by divisiveness and fierce loyalty, a surprising and, to many, welcome shift is underway among voters. Once ardent supporters of former President Donald Trump, voters who placed their faith in him not once, but twice, are now coming forward to renounce their former allegiance. From all corners of the United States, a diverse collection of voices is rallying behind Vice President Kamala Harris, pointing to a rejection of Trump's increasingly authoritarian rhetoric, his volatile behavior, and the many scandals that continue to follow him. These voters, who once believed Trump was the answer to America's political issues, are now viewing him as the embodiment of the problems plaguing the nation. With the election looming, Harris's campaign is seeing an unexpected swell in support, a phenomenon that could prove to be a deciding factor in the outcome. Among former Trump supporters, discontent with the former president has reached a breaking point. Their voices, amplified across social media platforms like TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, and other digital spaces, highlight growing concerns about Trump's behavior, including his tendency to denigrate marginalized communities. His hostile remarks toward Puerto Ricans, along with allegations that he's undermined respect for the military and used racial slurs, are sparking a strong reaction from former fans. This backlash isn't just rhetoric, but a resounding response to Trump's failure to unite America, with former loyalists now questioning the direction in which he wants to take the country. For instance, in a recent article from Politico, Puerto Rican voters shared how Trump's disrespect for the Latino community prompted a profound shift in their voting intentions. A Puerto Rican voter described feeling betrayed by Trump's platform, which has openly associated Puerto Ricans with derogatory language, labeling them as a floating piece of garbage. Such statements have fueled feelings of resentment within the Latino community, which has traditionally represented a key demographic for any national candidate aiming to lead a diverse America. The sense of alienation has, therefore, compelled many to reevaluate their stance, with some of them gravitating towards Harris's campaign, which they perceive as inclusive and aligned with democratic values. An unlikely ally, Republicans against Trump. Surprisingly, Trump's former voter base includes Republicans who identify as classic conservatives. Among them is Bob, a former Trump supporter and veteran from New York. In a video that has circulated widely, Bob passionately expressed his disappointment in Trump, stating, "Donald Trump serves only Donald Trump." Like many former Trump supporters, Bob's loyalty was eroded by the former president's disparaging comments about military veterans, whom he allegedly labeled as suckers and losers. Such rhetoric, Bob insists, does not reflect the values that veterans and service members uphold, nor does it honor their sacrifices. America was founded by people that believe in democracy, he declared, contrasting Trump's leadership style with the fundamental values that define the nation. Bob is far from alone. Across the country, other Republicans like Kurt from Arizona are similarly speaking out. Kurt voted for Trump in 2016, but has since experienced a radical transformation in his perspective. Disillusioned by Trump's rhetoric following January 6th, Kurt argues that Trump's incitement of the attack on the Capitol was a definitive betrayal of his oath to protect and serve the American people. Kurt insists that it was this event, coupled with Trump's manipulation of loyal followers, that led him to support Harris, whom he now sees as a leader with integrity, respect for the rule of law, and a commitment to democratic principles. The rise of pro-democracy voices. Beyond former Trump voters, a broader coalition of what some are calling the pro-democracy community is also taking shape. These individuals, who include Democrats, independents, and even Republicans, are drawn together by a shared vision of a nation that values empathy, equal rights, and truth. This community is united against what they see as Trump's attempts to dismantle the constitutional framework of the United States in pursuit of personal power. They aim to preserve the freedoms that form the core of American identity, such as freedom of speech, freedom from persecution, and the right to a government that serves its people rather than ruling over them. Members of this coalition argue that Trump has repeatedly shown contempt for these principles. Among their grievances is his apparent disdain for the Constitution and his desire to use executive power unchecked by other branches of government. This perceived desire for authoritarian control is what brought Kevin, a former Trump voter from Arizona, into the fold of Harris supporters. For Kevin, the idea of a president who praises authoritarianism and believes he can govern unilaterally is not only dangerous, but anathema to everything America stands for. His choice to vote for Kamala Harris in the upcoming election, he explains, is not just a rejection of Trump, but an endorsement of a leadership that values collaborative governance, responsibility, and respect for American traditions. The role of media and the growing divide. Notably, the media has played a significant role in shaping public perceptions of Trump's recent actions. The repeated airing of Trump's more extreme statements has exposed a disturbing trend of dehumanizing language directed at marginalized groups, veterans, and even fellow Republicans who disagree with him. Yet, within this media landscape, Trump's defenders have doubled down, often dismissing his language as hyperbole or speaking the truth. However, the impact on moderates and independents has been unmistakable. For many, the rhetoric is simply unacceptable. One particularly controversial move was Trump's alignment with an Elon Musk-backed PAC, whose ad campaigns against Kamala Harris were riddled with misogynistic undertones and inappropriate language. Trump supporters, even those once unwavering in their loyalty, have found these actions distasteful and indicative of a culture within Trump's circle that lacks basic respect and civility. This polarization is not simply about Democrats versus Republicans, as some would suggest. Rather, it reflects a deeper divide between those who wish to preserve traditional values of respect and decency and those who condone divisive rhetoric for political gain. The question that remains is whether this emerging coalition will have the strength to tip the scales on Election Day. As Kurt, Kevin, Bob, and thousands of others band together in support of Kamala Harris, their message is resonating with Americans tired of Trump's divisive tactics. For these voters, Harris represents a candidate who listens, understands, and genuinely cares about uniting a fractured nation. By voting for her, they hope to steer America back towards the values that have long defined its character: democracy, equality, and respect for all. Each personal story of disillusionment with Trump and support for Harris paints a larger picture of an America in search of unity and healing. Former Trump supporters, disillusioned by his broken promises and emboldened by Harris's commitment to democratic values, are standing up to declare, enough. For them, this election is about much more than political loyalty. It's about ensuring a future for their children, preserving the ideals of democracy, and above all, safeguarding the soul of the nation. As Election Day approaches, the voices of former Trump supporters who have switched allegiance to Kamala Harris continue to echo across the country. Their stories, often filled with disappointment and a newfound hope, reflect a nation at a crossroads. Trump's vision of an America divided and ruled by fear is one that many Americans now reject. In Kamala Harris, they see a leader capable of bridging divides and restoring the values they hold dear. Whether these voices will be enough to change the course of the election remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: they've sent a powerful message that cannot be ignored, a message that could very well define the future of American democracy.